Linking into to this topic, there's also an issue which some filmmakers, and these are filmmakers, the two examples we're going to give have been cited as cinematic geniuses. The issue that sometimes we're not saying we agree with any ideas here, this is an important disclaimer brought up by the filmmakers, but the issue that sometimes women, or not even women, men, the recipient of the attack, enjoy it, get off on it. The first example I'm going to give is Straw Dogs. Straw Dogs stars Susan George, who...
Oh my god, sorry, he's putting me off.
Yeah, stars Susan George and Dustin Hoffman, and was directed by Sam Peckinpah, who of course is an enfant terrible of 70s cinema. Now, right, the plot revolves around Susan George, who is British and from, I believe it's Cornwall, isn't it?
Cornwall, yeah.
Straw Dogs, and sexual American boyfriend, played by Dustin, I'm not sure, boyfriend or husband, played by Dustin Hoffman, to the Cornish village that she lives. It's made clear that Susan George used to date the village Alpha. Now, and Dustin Hoffman is presented as a very timid, somewhat emasculated male. As seen in the film, Susan George's character is raped by the ex-boyfriend. This is a very controversial scene and caused the film to be banned for many, many years. Halfway during the rape, and in fairness, it is presented as something she does not want at the beginning. Halfway through, she starts to get off on it. What becomes an act of sexual violence becomes midway through an act of sexuality, which for me is literally rape as titillation. You know, puts you in a murky thing. All you gotta do is push harder, guys, and eventually she'll like it. You know, eventually there's a second rape scene in the film where, in fairness, it's presented she did not want this. She no way wants it, and it's this moment which causes Dustin Hoffman's character to want a better term, man up and deal with the situation. But there's some very murky gender politics in this. You could argue, as un-PC as they are, that they're actually more honest, depending on your own viewpoint. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that's what some defenders of the film have said. But that is the issue, very murky, that filmmaker has done. I mean, the other film was Once Upon a Time in America, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Once Upon a Time in America I watched quite recently, so it's quite fresh in my mind. There are two very graphic rape scenes in that movie. The first of which, both are committed by Robert De Niro's character.
The weird thing is, he's the hero of the movie.
He is the hero of the movie. I mean, it's fucked up. It really does tackle it in a very similar way to Straw Dogs. The first rape scene, it hints that the woman's getting off on it, and then later on when she basically comes face to face with her attacker and realises who he is and shit, she flirts with him, and it's revealed that she did want it, which is
murky at best.
Yeah, exactly. Like whether or not that's the case with some, you know, I don't want to speculate.
No.
But I do think it's an interesting way to present it. But then later in the film, Sergio Leone has another rape scene committed by Robert De Niro on his, I guess you could call her his girlfriend at this point.
And I was just going to say, the issue with that is we're not, just want to make clear, we're discussing the issue of rape, we're not talking about the female psychology of anyone who's actually experienced the act. We are not commenting on that itself. We're commenting on how those acts are dealt with in cinema.
Yeah.
We just want to make that plain. I mean, for me, the horrific thing, I mean, there's no excuse for the act, but the horrific thing in the cinema, in that experience, is in all the films, in most rapes, is presented as an attack from someone you don't know. The whole thing is, in Robert De Niro's character in Once Upon a Time in America, he knows her. He knows her very well, and that's what makes it more horrific.
Yeah. That he can just, because at this point in the film, they'd just been out for a nice meal.
Yeah, and she's spurned his advances, hasn't she? She
pretty much.
said it's not going to happen.
He'd done this big romantic gesture, opened a hotel which was supposed to be closed. With the only two in there, they had this nice meal. He expects to basically get
right off into the sunset.
Yeah, basically. And then when she, as you said, spurns his advances, he snaps.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's it. So it's in check. But that's because this is the difference between every other rape scene that we've discussed and I've never seen a rape scene like it in film, because he rapes her, realises what he's doing, and you could say this is a bold move by Leone, because he realises what he's doing, and a lot of filmmakers who've done this, I realise what I'm doing, I've stopped. This is what makes it all more horrific, you could argue realistic, more disgusting, I'm not sure. This is why it's a good scene cinematically, because I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it, because Robert De Niro stops, looks down, realises what he's done, and then continues.
Yeah. Like, as if to say, I've gone this far.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Which is, like as you said, it makes it all the more horrific that this character can be aware of just how horrific his actions are and not give a shit.
There's a film where when does it become rape during consensual? Because I always remember in English was talking about rape. I think it was in like a Shakespeare play, and
same in the shrew.
I don't know, but basically I can't tell you what it was, but it was a film basically, and it was consensual sex, and then it was like, how far does it become where you're during doing it and you say no, like is it the point of penetration, is it like, and like, so basically it gets to basically he penetrates her, he's going through it, and everyone's like, well no, it's consensual then, isn't it? Everyone's saying it, like, no, it's fine, if it's gone that far and she's alright with it, it's fine to continue. As soon as she starts saying no though, during it, and the guy doesn't stop, does it become rape then or what?
Well, that's it. The issue, and again, it's like I've said, it's interesting to put on from film. The accepted cultural answer is the minute the partner having sex, be they male or female, says no, stop.
You stop.
You stop. You know?
But then if you don't stop, then it becomes rape, does it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know it does, but in the class, people were like, as soon as they've consented to penetration, it's not rape, it's just, you know what I mean?
I suppose you could argue that no doesn't always mean stop, because if that were the case, in certain sexual practices, why do you need safety words? You know?
Again, we're in very dodgy territory here.
We want to say we're not...
I think we should, let's just wrap up the rape topic, because we've said pretty much what we can. We're not, basically, as you said, we are not commenting on what the victims have gone through in
we're
real
not
life.
Commenting on the subject of rape,
all we're commenting on is how it's presented in film and how
it's confused us.
And yeah, it has confused us, because as we've said, you know, some films glorify it, some films do it to repulse the audience.
I don't think any film glorifies it.
Yeah.
In a way that I don't think it glorifies it by meaning to glorify it.
Well, even if it's kind of by accident.
Yeah, but when you say glorifying, you're kind of making it sound like it's like some heroic thing to do. Like you're not going to see like people rush out of cinema. And
no, but glorify can also mean to shock. And as we said at the beginning of these segments, there was a whole kind of rape sub-movie subgenre from Italy from the 70s, and you know, it came back. I mean, just to go full circle to sum it up, there's a bit in Hills of Ice 2 where rape is literally a horrible thing of, I'm gonna make a baby, where she's raped by the super mutant, and it's almost like a Japanese comic book. It's just, that was the point where I just literally like, come on. And after this has happened to her, she's fine, she runs around like nothing's happened, and it's not presented that she's in shock. You know what I mean, where they're in the army? It's not presented that this woman's in shock, it's presented this horrific event is presented as the same as if he just pushed her down on the floor. And that for me was like, I'm kind of, wow, this whole thing has gone too far, you know.
Well, you know, that's just it, isn't it? There are films that do it wrong, and films that, when I say do it right, I mean,
do it right as in
present it in a responsible manner.
They're responsible with it because it is a touchy subject, and they're quite respectful to how the victims may feel. I'm thinking of Dr. Melfi in Sopranos. You know, when they realistically re-empower her by having her not set Tony on the rapist. You know, and so it can be handled in a responsible, respectful way, but a lot of the time
if it can be said in the same breath of like, oh, he pushed her and then raped her with no pause, like in that Super Mutant, like there's no difference between raping it, pushing it, hanging it up, or like colouring it in or something, and it's done wrong. But then if you have to like physically take him, if it takes you back, and you have to think about it, it's uncomfortable to watch, it's done right, isn't it?